Well, we will have another wave of growth at some point. I know the world's going to slow down a little bit, but we will. We will. And so the question is, how do we get ready for the next wave of growth? And maybe right now is the time to do that. Do you think? Growth performance is quite simple. It is quite simple. There are 3 P's as leaders that you need to get right. Now, these are things you want to do right now. So by the end of today's discussion, you should be able to say, I can implement some of these things immediately and start to make a difference. The first P is product. First P is product. Imagine that. Expanding your product helps grow your company. So my point is this: when you're thinking about product, now is the time to get it right. During COVID, you have an opportunity to think about your product and expand the feature set that will therefore grow your market. So here's what I mean by this. Today, here's your market share. The minute you start to add features that are relevant to the market, you expand your market share. It's pretty easy. And the way that people are, if you read online and you look through all the blogs and you look through LinkedIn right now, people are saying, well, wait, but is now the time to invest, or do I need to preserve my cash? What if? I do believe you need to preserve cash. Our company is doing some very interesting things to do that. We've also decided to raise a little bit of money. Why? Because we want to invest. So when you're asking yourself the question, should I invest right now or should I wait? Over and over, we see from history that during a recession or during a downturn, those who invested actually came out more profitable on the other side. And an easy place to invest is in your product. Now, as salespeople, how should we be involved? If you're a salesperson or sales leader sitting here listening today, go ask your product teams to be involved in 50 problem solution interviews. Tell them that you have customers. Tell them you have prospects that should be interviewed for a problem solution interview. That means there's a product marketing team or product management team would come up with a hypothesis around a problem, and then they would do interviews around the solution. You want to be involved with those. You want to help drive those to expand product. And then ask to be involved with 50 product market fit interviews. These are where you decide, is the product market, or is the market for this product a fit? The first principle, the first P, is expand the product. It's a no-brainer. Get you more market share. The second thing that's pretty obvious you can do is you can grow pipeline. Add qualified pipeline. I don't need more pipeline. I need qualified pipeline. Pipeline that fits the criteria for your target market. So I've got a product. Today it's here. I might expand it. It goes out to here. Be thinking about, what is that expansion market? What's the pipeline for that? What do they look like? What do they smell like? Where do they live? What are their buying habits? Who are the buyers? What are the titles? And I get really specific around adding qualified pipeline. We call this account-based marketing. In account-based marketing, it's actually, you want to think about account-based marketing of taking a total addressable market, and now I'm going to squeeze it down. So I'm moving it out with product, but I actually want to go after pipeline that's smaller. If I can get just a few people, not a few, but let's just say a few thousand or maybe even a few hundred who are my exact target markets, I can market to those people more effectively using account-based strategies than I could throwing out messaging to thousands. So if I have $100 million in ARR pipeline, which is annual recurring revenue. So if I have $100 million in pipeline, and I have an average contract value of say $250K, and I have a sales quota where each of my sales reps carries a quota of 1.25 million per year, and I have a close ratio of 30%, what's going to happen? Well, what will happen is I'll close 30 million. So I'll book 30 million in ARR. With that ACV, I'll have 120 deals booked per year, and I'll need roughly 24 sales reps. So it's some simple math that anyone can do. But watch what happens when I go from 100 million in pipeline to 500 million in pipeline. Nothing else changes. Still have an ACV of 250K. I still have a sales quota of 1.25. and my close ratio is still 30%. So now I've booked 5 times more, 150 million in booked, 600 deals, and 120 sales reps to get me that number. So it's a 5x multiplier just by adding pipeline. So first I expand my product, which expands my market. Second, I go find new pipeline for that market. It's the second P. It's pretty obvious, pretty simple. The third P, to increasing performance for growth. I had product, pipeline. The third P is productivity. Productivity. So think about this for a minute. When we're thinking about productivity, the equation gets really interesting fast. And I'll show you why. So I'm going to use some simple math again. I use the exact same example that I had before. I have 100 million in pipeline and my close ratio of 30. What am I going to close? 30 million, Ryan. We did this one before. But what happens when I change more than the pipeline number? What happens when I get my sales reps to move to an ACV of 300K because they're better? Because they know how to talk differently, because they know how to hold themselves more relevant in a conversation, because they know how to negotiate with the buyer. What happens then? What happens when I have a sales quota? Instead of 1.25, I can say, well, the ACV's gone up. I'm actually going to move the quota up just a little bit. I think that's the fair thing to do. And the reps say, no, you can't move my quota up. I got so much better. We're going to move quota up a little bit. What happens then? And what happens if I get just 5%, just a 5% improvement in my close ratio? See what we can do just to get, if we can just get 5% better on the close ratio during this time, look at what happens. We took almost the same amount of group of people, and we're at 175 million booked, 583 deals booked. If you remember the last equation, right? We were at 600 deals, but here's the kicker. I only have 87 sales reps doing this. So not only do I get 6x on the growth, but I do it at 75% of the cost, meaning it's 25% less expensive. I'm creating a profit center for my company because of productivity. So the best leaders in the world are getting this right.